anything. Na, do not. Samaret, thinking of. Padam, personality. Tat, that. Paramam, supreme. Vishnu, of Vishnu. Manaha, the mind. Yatra, whereupon. Prasidati, becomes reconciled. Translation purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki. Translation. Therefore, one should meditate upon the limbs of Vishnu, one after another, without being deviated from the conception of the complete body. Thus, the mind becomes free from all sense objects. There should be no other thing to be thought upon. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu is the ultimate truth, the mind becomes completely reconciled in Him only. Purport. Foolish persons bewildered by the external energy of Vishnu do not know that the ultimate goal of the progressive search after happiness is to get in touch directly with Lord Vishnu, the Personality of Godhead. Vishnu Tattva is an unlimited expansion of different transcendental forms of the Personality of Godhead, and the supreme or original form of Vishnu Tattva is Govinda or Lord Krishna, the supreme cause of all causes. Therefore, thinking of Vishnu as Vishnu or meditating upon the transcendental form of Vishnu, specifically upon Lord Krishna, is the last word of the subject of meditation. This meditation may be begun from the lotus feet of the Lord. One should not, however, forget or be misled from the complete form of the Lord. Thus, one should practice thinking of the different parts of the transcendental body one after another. Here in this verse, it is definitely assured that the Supreme Lord is not impersonal. He is a person, but his body is different from those of conditioned people like us. Otherwise, meditation beginning from the pranava, omkara, up to the limbs of the personal body of Vishnu would not have been recommended by Shukadeva Goswami for the attainment of complete spiritual perfection. The Vishnu forms of worship in great temples in India are not therefore arrangements of idol worship, as they are wrongly interpreted by a class of men with poor fund of knowledge. Rather, they are different spiritual centers of meditation on the transcendental limbs of the body of Vishnu. The transcendental deity, the worshipable deity in the temple of Vishnu, is identical with Lord Vishnu by the inconceivable potency of the Lord. Therefore, a neophyte's concentration or meditation upon the limbs of Vishnu in the temple, as contemplated in the revealed scriptures, is an easy opportunity for meditation for persons who are unable to sit down tightly at one place and then concentrate on pranava, omkara, or the limbs of the body of Vishnu, as recommended herein by Sukadeva Goswami, the great authority. The common man can benefit more by meditating on the form of Vishnu in the temple than on the omkara, the spiritual combination of aum, as explained there before. There is no difference between omkara and the form of Vishnu, but people unacquainted with the science of absolute truth try to create dissensions by differentiating between the form of Vishnu and that of omkara. Here it is indicated that the Vishnu form is the ultimate goal of meditation, and as such it is better to concentrate upon the form of Vishnu than on impersonal omkara. The later process is also more difficult than the former. Let's chant the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Jnana Timirandascha Gnanjana Shalakaya Takshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Swapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Charitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Shute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'll just read the translation again. Therefore, you should meditate upon the limbs of Vishnu one after another without being deviated from the conception of the complete body. Thus the mind becomes free from all sense objects. Thus the mind becomes free from all sense objects. There should be no other thing to be thought upon, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu is the ultimate truth. The mind becomes completely reconciled in Him only. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu, haven't seen you. Your name?
Melbourne.
You are from Melbourne. Okay. My name is Nityananda Pran Dasa. Welcome Prabhu. So here, as we heard from Prabhu yesterday, that until we chant the holy name of the Lord with attention, there is no way of going past Nishta. Like Nishta starts when we actually start chanting the holy name of the Lord with attention. So when you see that statement, I think at least I am very far away from whatever the standard is. So, but it doesn't mean that one has, if one is not in the state of Nishta, one is not qualified to preach or to feel confident, because in Krishna consciousness, the way that it works out is first you're given the post of the judge or the post of a preacher, and then you qualify yourself. That's how Krishna consciousness works. That's how Prabhupada made it work, because most of the people who became Krishna conscious in the early days were literally like month, 2 months or 2 weeks into the movement, and they're given responsibilities or post where they didn't know what they're signing up to. And there was an interesting video about Prabhupada's memories. One of the professor talks about, he just was there and then he could see that these people are like enthusiastic, jumping and doing this thing and that thing. He was wondering, like, because he is about 55 years old and he's a theology professor. So he said, these people they don't seem to know what they're doing, but they seem to be doing a lot of things. So he was saying, there should be somebody who's responsible for it. And then when he kind of was sat in the whole program, then he could see that Prabhupada was always at the back end, orchestrating everything what the devotees are doing. And then when Prabhupada gave the speech, that's when this person came to know this one person, the elderly person, is making all of them work in a way which they might even not know what they're doing, what's the purpose of doing certain things. So he kind of identified that this person is the spiritual master, the founder Acharya. He is the cause for all of them doing whatever they're doing. So in that way, here we are. We don't know what we're doing. Like when we came in touch with Krishna consciousness, even somebody who's born in a Western country without any background of any Vedic knowledge, or someone like me and some of the Indian body men who came from India, though they have been in touch with the culture of India, we were not aware of what is the easiest path of achieving self-realization, because there is literally so many options available. And sometimes it's confusing. I was actually thinking about it when I was preparing for the class, like, why does Vyasadeva have to make this Vedas so complex? Like, why wouldn't he have just given this is the cutthroat philosophy, this is what is supreme, and rest everything is just Just you can be thrown out in the garbage bin. Why wouldn't you have just said that, and we wouldn't have to struggle so hard, trying to convince people this and that. And when the thought came, the lecturer addressed that point, because we have to understand that we can't expect, let's say if you go to a toilet, literally you go to a toilet in a public place, you can't expect that toilet or the sand or the cleanliness of toilet to be the cleanliness of a living room, because that's meant to be a toilet, or that meant to be a place where you just go do your duty and come out. So this material world is also such a place, because souls come to this material place, material universe, not in search of Krishna. They actually come to forget Krishna. Now Vyasadeva is such an expert preacher that similar to Narada Muni, where he's not giving them, okay, if you do this, you basically will go back to Godhead. He's basically telling them, you don't have to go back to Godhead. So this is, you wanted to basically forget about Krishna, but then here is it. You have all these rules and regulations, or practice in Vedas, which will keep you happy. But on the hindsight, what it's actually doing is actually slowly cleansing the heart of the practitioner. That's where the whole concept of demigod worship comes up. Because somebody is not ready to take authority. We came to this material world because we are not ready to take authority. So, but the reason to put us in a position where we actually at least respect authority is, okay, if you do this, you can enjoy. Like if you want to be beautiful, you worship a particular demigod. If you want a good husband, you worship a particular demigod. And if you want to basically have wealth, worship a particular demigod. So in this way, Vyasadeva is at least putting people to accept to some authority, so that ultimately their heart gets cleansed, and then when the ultimate authority comes in, they'll be in a position to surrender to it. Now, again, in the same way, if you understand, like when Vyasadeva was about to write the whole Puranas, like Srimad Bhagavatam or all the Puranas or the Itihas, we know the past time where he didn't know who to make it right. So he asked Lord Ganesha Ganesha to actually write it on his behalf, so he can actually just recite. And the condition of Ganesha was that he should not stop, like he should be continuously writing. So if he stops and then he's finished writing and he's still thinking about it, that's it, the contract is over. I'll just get up and go walk away. Now Vyasadeva thought, like, okay, what is the way to overcome this? He said, so he actually when he was reciting the verse, he actually recited some complex words, complex things, because his counter contract was, you should not just keep writing like a parrot, just keep writing without understanding the meaning. You have to understand the meaning and then write it. So sometimes when we see because in Sanskrit, as we know, is a complex language. A particular meaning can be given different interpretations, and different people can look in different point of view, and then they can interpret the same verse in a Mayavadic way, in a devotional way, in an impersonalist way. So here Vyasadeva is like creating these complex verses, and I was again thinking, why is again Vyasadeva again doing the same complex thing? Because if he'd not done it complex, it would have been easier. But then it's the way Lord wanted things to be. And then coming back to Lord Krishna, it would have been much easier if Krishna would have just said the 18th chapter, instead of saying the whole Bhagavad Gita, of giving different options to people, which people are again confused about, because there is Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and everything there. Krishna would have given just the crux, then we would get the book points for just a small book, isn't it? So people, like when you give a Bhagavad Gita in their hand, they look like it. Do you really want me to read this one? And I really don't have space to keep it in my bag. That's the look that they give you. So, but if Krishna has given really concise, you would have just, Krishna, the reservoir of pleasure. If Bhagavad Gita's size was that much, you could have just given, distributed so much. So, but Krishna, again, is putting us in a situation where, because there are people who are in this material world for a different reason, and we as devotees, or as all the acharyas, they have actually given them, the Vedas give them the opportunity to do that. But the people who are actually want to take up Krishna consciousness or want to understand the real truth, there is this option available as well. So we as devotees or aspiring devotees we get frustrated when we talk with mostly with Indian people from Indian background, keep telling them like demigod worship is not the ultimate and everything, but they don't seem to just get it because they are just attached to sentiment. But instead of getting frustrated, the only thing that we have to say is like, if everybody turns into a devotee, then we have no preaching to do. Like that power, I'm happy to give Bhagavatam class, and I know most of you give Bhagavatam class, but that happiness is not as much as when you actually meet a person in the street, give him a book, and then a month later he actually starts chanting 16 rounds. When you see his progress, that happiness is nothing compared to giving Bhagavatam class, because Bhagavatam class of course is for your own purification as well, but then when you see somebody, you actually bringing some soul who is not connected to Krishna and connecting it back to Krishna gives so much happiness. So that pleasure is more. And then we have to see, this is just our duty. Krishna has just created this whole thing just to keep us busy, because otherwise we might not know what to do. In this verse it also says that when we connect to the form of Vishnu, then if you start concentrating on not the complete form but just the limbs one by one, then the mind gets satisfied, reconciled. So it's a very wonderful way that Sukadeva Goswami explained, because for in this material world everybody is looking for happiness. That's the most of the videos that people publish on like self motivation, everything. Everybody wants to be happy, and there are just the different ways of telling how to be happy. Now the problem is that it's like we want this fan to work. So we get an electrician, we make a hole in the ceiling, and then we put fix the fan, fix the fins of the fan, and everything is done. But then we're thinking, but still I'm feeling hot. Why am I not getting why am I feeling cold? Or like why is the heat not going away? That's because no matter what the arrangement is, at the end of everything, you need to plug the fan to a socket, which is the electric socket, which comes from, the electricity comes from the source of electricity, which is basically Krishna. So people, they might have like a lot of things on those external parameters, that this is how my life should be. This is if I arrange my life or my situation of life in a certain way, everything is going to be perfect. I'm going to be happy. If I go here, if I buy this, if I have this degree, if I have this car, if I get this one, everything is going to be fine. I'm going to be really happy. But the problem is, they're doing everything, but then because they don't connect it to the socket, which is Krishna, since just like any electrical equipment can't work, it doesn't work. And people may say you can use battery, but then even to battery you need to recharge it, or you used to have a battery with some charge in it. So that is the missing point, which people are getting more and more frustrated. Now, when I used to take Bhakti Shastri class before, we started it, this one devotee who was coming to the class, she asked the question, Prabhu, you were saying about how people are suffering and all these things, but I go to my office and I don't see anybody suffering. I see all of them are very happy, and they are having a nice life. They're having they're having a nice chat with people around, and they seem to be enjoying life. Now, where is the suffering coming from? Maybe it could be in the third world country, like where we come from, where we actually see in our front of house kids not having food, and then people living in slums. But here, everybody seems to be happy. Literally, I didn't know. I didn't have an answer then. I said I don't know. I will maybe ask devotees and let you know. But then when I asked the devotees, they told not to see it from our vision, from material vision. See it through the vision of Shastra. Because when you see the vision of Shastra, you see that there is so many sufferings happening within the life. And then, because again, I was in a graduate job, I just didn't mingle with my colleagues. I was just wanted to first at least understand what's my role, and I want to, like add value, and so that I feel I'm actually being considered as a key member of their project or the company. But now, once we all grow up, we talk with colleagues about family and this and that. We understand there are though they might put up a facade of happiness, happy face, and like enjoying life to the fullest, there is still a lot of suffering. There is still a lot of suffering, and it is very hard if you don't look to the eyes of Shastra. I don't know. I've told this a story when I was taking Bhagavatam class before, like around 3 years ago. I thought this might quite relevant, because there's even in spiritual life, there's one brahmachari who was serving a spiritual master very nicely, and he used to go and get bhiksha from the houses to cook for his spiritual master and everything. So every time he goes to houses of grihasthas, he sees that they're having a nice life. They're not struggling. They're going to work, and they have their own nice arrangement where they're happy. They don't seem to be undergoing too much of austerity. So he thought for some time that maybe I should also get married, because I know it's serving my spiritual master is good, but then it's still within the Vedic shelter, like a principle that if one wants to get married, they can get married and still follow spiritual. So he came and told his spiritual master that, dear Gurudev, I think I have a desire to get married and live a grihastha life. So please bless me. I'm going to leave. I have to leave as soon as possible. His guru said, okay, fine. If that's the decision, it's fine. You have my blessings. So take rest. It's already evening. So go in the morning. So he went to bed. He got up. He paid his obeisance to his spiritual master, and then do you remember this pastime? This story? No, I think. So he left to his hometown, and then he needs to now. He can't do bhiksha, so he has to start earning. So he started selling something in the road, like bangles and stuff like that. That's the way you can get to know Matajis very much. So like at least you can get married. So whatever way he was just trying to go on with his life, and then one day, some time passed, like a week or two, and then he was in a street where there's all rich people, and they were in one house. I think there was about to be a marriage happening, so all the ladies, like they wanted to get all these, because remember it's the olden time, you can't order through online, or you don't have big shopping malls. It's just all the roadside people that will come through. So they called him. So he went inside. So they said, okay, come, we're going to have a marriage. So you come in, and then they basically like if you have a rich man's house, when you have read in Krishna book, when it's a palace, you have the outside quarters, the inner quarters, and the interior quarters as well. So they asked him to come to the interior quarters. He's like, but can I come? Because he's trained in brahmachari. So he said, like, I don't think I should be coming there. I'm happy to show everything here. No. All the ladies are at the back, so they need to choose. They can't come outside, so you can come outside. Don't worry, we are the owners of the house. No, you all be in any trouble. So they took him inside, and then he was displaying all the things and everything. And again, like as being a devotee or being a devotee, he knows how to talk in a very humble way, in a nice way. So he was engaging, and he was connecting with the ladies in a very nice way. He was answering the questions and everything, and they liked him so much, and he showed everything. He was just doing his duty. He had no ulterior motives. And then everything they finished, and then it was almost like around late afternoon and things. So he said, like, okay, I'll leave now. He said, oh, you've been like so helpful. Like if we have actually had to go and buy this, we would have to spend a whole couple of days. So you came at the right time. So please have some prasad and go. I said, okay, it's fine. What's prasad? So they all sat together and were eating. And while they were eating, the girls, like young girls, they make fun and everything. Now at the same time, the male the father or the uncle or whatever, they actually came to the house, and they were shocked to see someone, a male person, in the quarters of their ladies, and they got really angry. They just didn't ask anything because they didn't have to get the permission of the ladies to understand what's happening. How can he actually even? It's not a normal custom for him to be there. They just went, caught hold of his collar, pulled him out. They just bashed him anything. And then literally, because they were rich family, they took him to the king, and they demanded that this guy has to be killed. There's no other way. The king said, what's the big thing that he said? But he has come into our quarters. We can't, if he's not killed, then like corporate worlds, the rich man has a link with the king. They have some business dealing. The king, without any his willingness, he said, okay, if that's the case, just do it. So he was supposed to be in a public place, just to show that this is not the way to behave. If somebody does that, this is the end of, this is how their life is going to end. Just to showcase that they're literally about to cut the head off in public. So there he is. His head is placed on a wooden thing. Another person is ready with a knife, about to cut his head off. And the person asked, do you have any last wish? It's it's the worst thing that you want to ask a person who's about to go die. He said, do you have any last wish? He said, he didn't say anything. The only thing that he actually thought was, I was really happy in my spiritual master's bhajan kutir, serving my spiritual master, and doing my service and living a peaceful life. Why did I even try to get entangled in this material bondage? So then he just looked up, just to see who are the people who have come here to see him, sees him getting head cut off. And in the crowd, he saw a spiritual master. And he said, when he saw that, he was everything, in the movies they show, everything becomes silent and just focus goes on one person. And his spiritual master was trying to tell him something. He just concentrated on what he's trying to. He said, wake up. When he said, what's that? And he said, wake up. And suddenly he wakes up. Literally, so basically, the spiritual master told him, go take rest, and then you can go the next day morning. All this has happened in his dream. So literally he just woke up, and because of his blessings of his spiritual master, he could understand, if he had gone away from this association of his spiritual master, what is the things that are actually waiting for him to happen. So sometimes we, being in the association of devotees and in the serving the deities, we might think oh my God, I'm wasting a lot of time, why wouldn't I have, if I've gone out and worked, or if I've not been in this austere situation, I would have enjoyed more. But it's not like that. I think Kadambakanda Maharaj said a real pastime about one of the devotees who was doing deity worship. So when he was doing deity worship, he was everything was going fine. And I think they went to India, or they just happened to show the astrology to astrologer, and he said, is everything okay in your life? He said, everything's okay. Your kids are with you and everything? He said, everything is fine. But according to astrology, he's supposed to be his family life is supposed to be shattered. He's be divorced, and his wife, children would have left him. But then the astrologer was surprised. Then he said, okay, fine. And then he actually told and he couldn't understand why this thing was happening. But then he just continued his devotional service, and then with another devotee there was a business the other devotee was about to start a business. He said, do you want to join in as a partner? Then he said, okay, maybe. And then he joined in as a partner. It's just a real ISKCON devotee story. It was amazing. Maharaj said, and he happened to not do his service regularly of deity service, and then he had to travel a bit and everything. And then within a year, his family fell apart. Now, the only reason his family was staying together and everything was going properly is because he was doing his deity worship. Now, this aligns with what Prabhupada said, and it aligns with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is a well-known astrologer. He studied astrology quite a bit, and he actually questioned, or he wrote a couple of books which actually said, because as a tradition they have this I don't know the technical way, like month end, like you got 30 days and stuff like that. So they have this fixed poles of time, phase of time, and then they calculate according to that. But then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati proposed that it's not the same, it changes. You can't calculate the timing exactly at the same time every year after year. This actually changes, like how we have 28 days in February, and suddenly you have one more day, leap year as 29, because there are some time changes, they're not equal and it changes. But then the way people are actually looking at astrology, horoscope, they were not ready to change. So he published a couple of books. But anyway, he said, like, if Krishna wants to decide something, then astrology is nothing. And same thing Prahlad Maharaj as well. And Prabhupada as well told one of his disciples in Vrindavan, where so like if they said, like, I'm going through a bad time, if I wear this ring or this kalash or something like that, then it will be better. Then Prabhupada said, in one kick I can kick 100 Shani Dishas or something like that. So here, because we are actually doing our spiritual service, engaged in spiritual service, we don't understand how much peace of mind that we get. If not, it's hard. Now with Omkara, Krishna says that he's the Omkara, he's the source of Omkara. He says that, I just wrote the verse because so he says, Pitaham asmi jagato mata data pitamaha vedyam pavitram Omkara rit sama yajur evacha. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support and the grandshire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier and the symbol Om. I am also the Rig, Samu, Yama and Yajur Veda. So we understand that Krishna is the source of Omkara. But people, without much knowledge, they think that this Omkara is much more powerful than Lord, or the personal form of Lord. The reason why people think the personal form of Lord is much inferior to Omkara or like any mantra is because they have had connection with form. I see you guys in form, and I see many people in a form, and I see different forms and different animals. So people think that this form which I can see should be inferior. So there should be something which has no form superior. So if suddenly, like, I'm giving Bhagavatam class, suddenly if I disappear, you'll be wow, right? But if every day if you see the Bhagavatam class speaker just walking away, then it's a normal thing for you guys. So if suddenly somebody disappears from the seat, then you think, oh my God, that person has such a big mystic power. We should try to become devotees of him, right? So because of our own conception, we think that form is less superior. And something other than form is much more superior. So in this way, people think the deities in the temple are for people who are in the beginning stage of spirituality. And for people who are advanced in spirituality, then there's no need to worship deities. Now, we have to, just as a reference, we're talking about ancient culture and Vedic culture and everything. From the beginning of Vedic culture, there's always been something worshipable. There's always been temples. There's always been, even Lord Krishna established temples. There's always been something which you focus your mind on, because that focus is needed, and then from that everything comes. So even with Omkara you can do that, but then from the Omkara you have to go to who is the source of the Omkara. So even if Brahmajyoti is light, but then where does the light come from? Who's turning on the torch or turning off the torch? You need to know. So in that way, Prabhupada puts it very nicely, people with poor fund of knowledge, they think that temple worship or deity worship is an inferior thing. And we as devotees know that the difference between a deity and idol is that DT is like Prabhupada says, it's authorized post box. If you put letter in authorized post box, it goes, the receiver receives the letter. But if you